Hello YouTube, this is Shirley426 and today we have the review of the Entry Grade Strike Gundam. So this was released last week I believe, and I just built it last night. So for this was pretty a simple build, and as expected, because this is an entry grade. Now for those who don't know what entry grades are, it is a new grade that Bandai is like testing out, making some extra new products out of. It's basically a very cheap line with articulated kits, so it's a very easy, cheap line for beginners or newcomers to try out. So far we had, before the Strike Gundam, we had the RX-78, and then we had to have the Strike Gundam, and now Bandai is working on a new Gundam as well. So keep that in mind. Now, and I would like to mention, or I am going to point out that entry grades, while they are cheap and they do have decent articulation, I'm not going to say that these are much better than their HG counterparts, because once again, obviously because of the price and cost of making this product, there were some limitations in certain areas, so keep that in mind. So this is just my own basic opinion, but basically, yeah, I would like to point out entry grades and HG kits are different. They are in their own league, so keep that in mind. So without further ado, let's go with the review. So first of all, let's go over components. So first of all, what you get, of course, is obviously the Strike Gundam itself, and then weapon-wise, for this specific set, you only get the armor Schneiders. Now, I could be remembering wrong, but I do remember Bandai or other websites taking pre-orders with a set for the weapon pack, which includes the aile strike pack, but I could be wrong on that aspect, so don't take that too seriously. I do remember that Bandai did release a Christmas event version of this, which is the pink Strike Gundam, the Strike Ruse, I believe, that did include some weapons. So I think if you can find that, maybe get that as well. Alright, so now let's start with the head as usual. Now, as I said, now entry grades on HG kits are very different. I'm not gonna, as I mentioned, I'm not going to say their entry grades are entirely 100% more better than HG kits, but I will mention that one of the biggest advantages that entry grades has is the head, because usually HG kits, they would use the stickers for the eyes, but in this case, for the entry grades, they did not use any stickers. Everything you see on the head here are all color separated. The yellow, white, red, everything is color separated. So this is definitely a very good color separated head. So if I don't own a HG Strike Gundam, but if I do, I might actually just swap the head with this one. So it can go down that much, up that much, and then 360, it's going to be a little bit tricky because there are some parts blocking the way for it to fully go 360 unless you force it. And as you can see, the head connection is a ball joint, so you can go forward and backward like that. Alright, and then now let's get the main body. The body, pretty simple build, and then you do have somewhat a simple ab crunch going on here with using multiple ball joints here, so that's that. And then looking at the backpack, there is a hole there, so if you are wondering, well, they did mention this in their promo pictures, is that yes, you can actually use a aile strike pack on this kit. Now, this is from the Premium Bandai exclusive HG Strike Gundam Glitter, so I would like to mention that the backpack is fully compatible. This is well, despite the colors, this is the exact same build as the aile strike pack, so yeah. So fully compatible, so if you do have an extra pack or if you want to use it on here, you are capable of using it. Now, I do not own any sword strike weapons or the launcher strike weapons, so I am not too sure if those are compatible with this shoulder. So yeah. And then the main body, for those who are curious, yes, you are technically able to go 360 on the entire body if you want to do so. Now looking at the arms. So first of all, the arms, the arm articulation, or to be more specific, the shoulder articulation is lacking compared to an HG kit, so I'll get into that later. But for now, you do get the basic 360 twist on the arm, going to the side about 90 degrees or slightly more is possible. And then, oops. Yeah, the shoulder is kind of stiff here, but I'll get into that later. And 360 twist on the lower arm is also possible. You have your ball jointed hand as usual, and just for your other equipment, you do have some holes there for connecting other equipment, and you do get a decent bend. But the reason why we're able to get this bend and for this cheap kit is because these are using those C-type joints. So for those who don't know what are C-type joints, they're basically clip-type joints. So I did separate this arms already. So if you look at the arms here, the way how these connect is, number one, if I can take this off one more time, that would be great, but still, let me get me a knife. So good thing I did get this prepared. There we go. So this is the way how it works. C-clip joints is that you clip onto the joint here, and then you pretty much lock it into place with this cover. So for the arms, there's only one on the lower one, but if you look at the legs here, there's going to be a clip type joint on the top and bottom, so it connects each the lower and upper leg. So this is the way how it works. Now this is pretty regarding the C-clip type joints, there has been a lot of opinions regarding this. So some people prefer it because it's easier to build and easier to customize. Some people say they don't prefer it because in the long run, these are going to get loose. So yeah, it really depends on your preference. And as you see, the shoulder and arms, the shoulder armor and the arm itself doesn't connect here. You just clip it on here. So these are one of those shoulder armors that move separately on its own. So keep that in mind. And as you can see, the way how the joints work here is that it goes forward and backward only. So, and despite that, it only moves a little bit in terms of with the shoulder armor. So because of this, this is also a clip type joint, so it does not go upwards. So depending on your pose may not be fully satisfying because the fact that the shoulder does not go up, and that does make a big difference depending on what pose you are doing. All right, and now the front skirt, this is a single piece. Now I will. Oh man, I'm sorry for that part. Some parts are just flying off, so that was my fault. But I would like to mention, while it is a single piece, the middle joint connection is not a ball joint, so I would slightly be, well, of course, but there is a middle gap where you can kind of separate them. So if you want to do that, you can do that, but be careful when you're doing so, because sometimes if you separate the side skirts, they may look a little bit droopy on each side. So just be careful. And the back skirt does not move at all. And then the side skirts do move like that, but however, as I mentioned, these do not open to store in the armor Schneider, so keep that in mind. And looking up the inside here, we do have a ball joint connection here on the legs, so some people prefer that or not, because once again, ball joints do get loose easier like that. And then we do have a nice side swivel going on here, and then the legs can go forward 90 degrees, and then backwards not so much because of the back skirt. So, and then bend wise, we get a pretty decent bend, but once again, this keeps popping out every time I move in a specific way. But thanks to the C-clip type joints, we do have a decent bend going on here. And for now, the joint seems a little bit stable for now. It's not loose or any means. It's not too tight, not too loose, so it's on that perfect state, but once again, I'm not sure how long it will last. Now the legs, the feet is kind of interesting here. So usually we would have a ball jointed feet. However, in this case, we also have a clip type feet here. So you can go forward and backward a lot, but you cannot rotate the feet side to side. So that is kind of a downside, but there is a ball joint. The ankle joint connects to the actual feet with a ball joint, so we do get a decent pivot point right over here like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the articulation regarding the Entry Grade Strike Gundam. So I would say it's a pretty good starter kit for those who are trying to get into the hobby, but I wouldn't say that it's a much superior kit compared to the HD kit, because I do own the HD Strike Gundam Glitter, which is based on the Strike Gundam, and yeah, in terms of more stability and such, I would still go with the HD kit. Of course, if I had to praise them, for a very cheap price, they did a very good job. So for about $6, this is a pretty good kit. So if you want to make an army of Strike Gundams, or if you want to practice like your customization or painting, this is a very good kit. And as mentioned, if you do have like an extra aile strike pad, you are always able to use it. So it's not exactly limited. And then the armor Schneiders, they're okay. They're just dull looking blades, but you can just pretty much slide them into the hand and you're good to go. And that's pretty much it for the review. So I would say if you want to have multiple kits with very cheap prices, or if you want to give a kit as a gift to a friend so they can start out or at least understand the hobby, I would say this is a very good option. Now I would also like to mention that the RX-78 is also a very good option for that, so keep that in mind. And then there's also a new Gundam coming out. Of course, that one might be slightly more expensive than this. Maybe if this was $6, that might be like $8 to $10, so just keep that in mind. Anyway, thank you for watching the review. This was the review of the Entry Grade Strike Gundam. If you guys got any questions or requests, leave a comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time.